In this video, we're going to try to answer the question, is a Honda worth 3 times the money of an SSR when we're talking pit bikes? So even though these bikes are not exactly an apples to apples comparison, they are very common and they're both readily available, and they're probably what you're going to be looking at if you're in the market for a pit bike. So the Honda 110, the Ssr125, new out the door with all the dealer fees and everything, is going to cost you around $3,500, which is 3 times more than one of these Ssr125s. These things, the manufacturer suggested retail price is like $1,300 and something dollars. So used, this is a 2020 model. We got this for $700. Seems to be about the going price. And a used 2020 Crf110 is going for $2,200. So again, about 3 times the money. So we're trying to help you out, figure out, is it worth it or not? And the big things, the big differences are, the Honda is electric start and it is fuel injected, which means it is going to start in any weather without fiddling around with the clutch. And if you're somebody who's not used to kickstarting motorcycles, or you're a smaller rider, newer rider, not used to holding up a bike while you're kicking it, the electric start is a nice feature. The SSR is still carbureted, so you have to deal with the choke, and still has a Kickstarter, which, you know, is not a big deal, but you need to be aware of that. So I think to help answer this question, whether or not these are worth the money, I think it depends on your physical size and how you see yourself riding these bikes. Everything on the Honda is better built. It's going to hold up. The SSR, the quality is a lot lower, and the strength of a lot of the components is a lot less than the Honda. And when I say that, I'm talking about things like the foot pegs and the foot peg mounts. These are not going to hold up to, you know, a heavier rider. If you're somebody in the 200-pound or above range, you're either going to have to modify this bike or buy something like the Honda. So you have issues like that, and the suspension too on this is kind of minimal. So if you're a more aggressive rider, see yourself getting into some rougher stuff, you're probably going to want to go the route of the Honda. If you're a newer rider, just want to go bash around a little bit, something like this is probably going to work perfect for you, and the cost is minimal. There is a pretty big height difference in these bikes too. You're probably looking at 5-6 inches easy with the handlebar height. One thing you'd notice right away if you're comparing both of these, the Honda is a heavier feeling bike, and the suspension is definitely more controlled when you're bouncing on it, pushing on it, riding it. Of course, you can just feel it. It's more refined. This one just feels like it's a pogo stick. One other real big thing, the SSR is very loud. The Hondas are super quiet. So depending on where you're going to be using these, that's a huge factor. All right, let's go run these things. A little more representative
of the size of everybody that would be riding it.
Yeah.
I've only ridden this thing for like 5 minutes once, but I noticed it's way more uncomfortable than those Hondas are.
Oh, and just for the record, Ben is 6'10" and 400 pounds.
Yeah.
So we're going to see how this bike does under that kind of torture.
What's it been, like 3 weeks since?
Yeah, this has been at least 2 weeks since this has been run. So we're going to see how it starts. And it's about 40 degrees here this morning.
Yeah, that was first kick though.
Yeah, that was really good. You can hear how loud that bike is. He's just warming it up right now. still should warm them up though a little bit.
Yeah.
Give them a chance.
The first thing you notice when you're driving these things around is how much straighter this one tracks, especially around the corners. That thing feels so unstable when you're driving around, and this thing's nice and smooth.
You can hear how quiet the Honda is too.
Just how much louder and more annoying that thing is. Alright, so another thing that's definitely worth mentioning on the power aspect, this thing's got a lot smoother power, like constant power throughout the whole thing. This thing just always runs a little goofy. The power is probably pretty similar. The race right now wouldn't be fair because there's like a 60-pound difference between the two of us. But we'll still try it. Just maybe up the road or something. Anyways, the whichever bike I was on won, about the same length each time, so weight plays a big factor. Which bike would you buy for yourself?
Definitely the CRF.
Yeah. What's the biggest reason why you'd buy that bike?
It's smooth and it feels way more refined. The SSR feels more loose and rattly. It's kind of like a bucket of bolts compared to this thing. But I'm convinced for the money, the SSR is fine. I just appreciate the added thought and quality and manufacturing that went into this bike.
There's your answer, and I agree with that answer. The SSR is not terrible though.
Ben just took his training wheels off yesterday.
No 110 video would be complete without one of these 110s.
How are you supposed to kick this?
It's like a lawnmower, it's pull start.